successful cyber attack on a U.S. bank, credit union, or brokerage firm would damage that institution's reputation, undermine consumer confidence in the U.S. financial system, and possibly trigger a global financial crisis. Protecting critical account and customer data from cyber threats such as ransomware presents a serious challenge, given the interconnectedness of world financial systems and the reliance on real-time access to data to keep financial markets moving. To meet this challenge, Sheltered Harbor was formed in 2015 as a nonprofit, industry-led initiative to guide U.S. financial institutions to improve their operational resilience in protecting and recovering critical financial data when a cyber attack or other event causes critical systems, including backups, to fail. Dell Technologies is the first technology solution provider in the Sheltered Harbor Alliance Partner Program, developing Dell EMC PowerProtect Cyber Recovery for Sheltered Harbor, a turnkey data vaulting solution for U.S. financial institutions. Protecting your business starts with protecting your data. Make your cyber resilience strategy a reality with proof.
এখন 2:35 আর আপনার পছন্দের এখন 2:35 আর আপনার পছন্দের গানটি রিকোয়েস্ট করুন।
আপনি লাঞ্চের টাইম হয়ে গেছে, বিরিয়ানি গানটা ছাড়েন না।
সো এখন আমরা প্লে করব এক্সক্লুসিভ কাচ্চি বিরিয়ানি, যার সাথে আছে আলু আর ভেতরে আছে জুসি মাটন। সো শুনতে থাকুন।
মাগার পুরানিটা হইলে কইলাম বেশি জমতো।
হাংরি নাকি? হাংরি হলেই হাংরি নাকি অ্যাপ থেকে পছন্দের যে কোনো ফুড অর্ডার করুন এখনই।
কথায় আছে না, হাতে ধরে ঘরে বিপদ ডেকে আনা, সেটাই করেছি। একটু পরপর ভাবি রং চা, দুধ চা, অমুক চা, তমুক চা, চিনি কম, পপকর্ন, আর ভাল লাগে না। ওয়ালটন থেকে একটা অ্যান্ড্রয়েড টিভি কিনে সবাইকে শুধু বলেছিলাম বাসায় আসবেন, ব্যাস।
সরি, টিভিটা যখন ওয়ালটন, চাপ তো একটু হবেই। এখন টি20 বিশ্বকাপ উপলক্ষে ঝকঝকে পিকচার আর ডলবি ডিজিটাল সাউন্ডের ওয়ালটন টিভি কিনলেই পাচ্ছেন ঘন্টায় ঘন্টায় ওয়ালটন টিভি ফ্রি। ওয়ালটন টিভি, যা দেখি রিয়েল লাগে।
Hello everyone, welcome to Bangladesh High Tech Park Presents Beyond 2021, powered by Hungry Naki, Dell Technologies Limited, Walton Television, and Ulka Games. So right now we are in our second days of Beyond 2021, and today's session is very special and our audience will love it. And the topic of this session is the future of outsourcing and youth employment. So without further ado, let me welcome our distinguished guest from different part of the world. Let me introduce Mr. Rahi Khondker, all the way from Australia. He's the CEO of 7W Consulting Australia. I'm welcoming Mr. Rahi Khondker. Hello, Rahi bhai, how are you?
Hello, Imran. Great to be here. Really love it. Every time you do something, I just want to be part of it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having
and
me.
it's a pleasure to have you with us all the time, and thanks for your time, and I hope today you will enjoy our session. So the next guest will be Mr. Dave McCaughan, co-founder of Marketing Future Bangladesh and the storyteller of Bibliosexual. I'm welcoming Dave in the screen. Hello, Dave.
Hi, nice to be here.
Yeah, I hope you were listening to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
and yeah, absolutely. And I'm welcoming our next speaker, Miss Rudmeela Nawsheen. He's the founder and CEO of ConfirBOT and ConfigVR, all the way from Silicon Valley, US. Hello, Rudmeela, how are you?
Hi, Imran. Thank you so much for inviting me today. It's actually an honor to be here, and I'm actually proud of what you're doing. I think you're doing great work, and good luck with it, as
Yes,
always.
I hope you will enjoy today's session. Hello,
Looking forward to it.
And next I will introduce. Right. Next, I will introduce from Dhaka, Bangladesh, the founder and CEO of Dream71, and he's a director of Basis, Rashad Kabir. Hello, Rashad bhai, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine, Imran bhai. Nice to meet you here.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Very exciting what you are doing right now. Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rashad bhai, for your time. Last but not least, we are inviting Ron Laurie, all the way from Australia. Hi, Ron.
Hi, Imran. How are you? Delighted to be here and be able to discuss this very important topic. Looking forward to it.
Yes, absolutely. So I will going. I'll hand over to every single speakers for the introduction. I will start with Mr. Rahi Khondker. Rahi bhai, can you give your brief introduction within 1 minute? Then we will go for our panel discussion. Rahi bhai.
Hi, Imran. So my name is Rahi Khondker. I'm the CEO of Seven Double Consulting. I mainly deal with project funding and business collaborations. So I help people with finding much needed market, much needed fund, and I call the oxygen. So, we have all business ideas and we are doing so many things are happening. But one of the resources that people need is the oxygen, the fund. So I help people with finding the fund, collaborative partners. So that's my forte. I'm very much looking forward to it. The topic is awesome, helping our youth. And I'm looking forward to, sharing
Absolutely.
ideas, absorbing from all the speakers here, and really looking forward to it today.
Absolutely. Now I'll move to Mr. Dave. Dave.
Yeah, hi everybody. So Dave McCaughan, I am the co-founder of Marketing Futures there in Bangladesh, which is a collaboration between a number of people. We put together teams to help companies figure out what's happening with marketing now and in the future. It's all in the name of the company. We advise things on, we do training, we do audits, we carry out trend analysis, etc. I'm also what I call the storyteller at Bibliosexual, which is a company that I run that works across Asia, which works to help companies understand the intersection between media, brands, and people. And it's basically an insights-based company that looks at how people are thinking about now and the future.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for joining. Now, Rudmeela, tell me something about yourself.
So hello everyone, this is Rudmeela Nawsheen. I am founder and CEO of ConfigVR and ConfirBOT. I'm an electrical engineer and I did my master's in software engineering both from San Jose State University in California. I'm a Bangladeshi American and I represent both countries proudly. And both my companies actually operate in Bangladesh and in US. The first one is augmented reality, virtual reality, animation, 3D modeling, company, and my second one is fairly new. I launched it in 2020. It's in robotics and AI company. We have different AI solutions, and we also build customized robots. My main focus is automation. That's where we are heading to, where the world is heading to, and we also have built 2 blockchain solutions. So right now, currently, I'm in Bangladesh for a few months to set up my assembling plant here because I want to utilize the talent and the youth we have in Bangladesh. So I'm actually looking forward to meeting a lot of talented people, and I think Bangladesh has a army of talent here. And my work is to utilize that youth talent. So I'm actually really looking forward to this interesting topic. And with all the insightful speakers here, I'm sure we're going to get a very good session today. Thank you.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to it. Now, Mr. Rashad Kabir.
Yes, hello Imran Bhai. So this is Rashad Kabir. I am the director of BASIS. You know the full form of BASIS is Bangladesh Association of Software and Information Services. Actually, BASIS is the apex state body of all the IT associations here in Bangladesh. And right now, under the umbrella of BASIS, we have more than 1,700 plus companies. So mainly in BASIS, we deal with the government about the policy level, about the, you can say that the taxes and VAT issue with the government, about the business promotion, both of the local and the international market of the software companies, and also the human resource development and many other things related to the development of the ICT sector. We deal with it. Besides, I am also the managing director of GYM'21 Bangladesh Limited. From GYM'21 Bangladesh Limited, we are exporting our software to 17 plus countries right now. And in Bangladesh, we are also working with the government, and we are also working with the different development partners like UNDP, World Bank, ILO, and many other organizations. So that's very much of myself.
Thank you, Rashad Bhai. Now moving to Mr. Ron Laurie.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Ron. I work in the area of human capital development. We're working with individuals and leaders as they develop themselves and capabilities of working in the 21st century. I have a particular way of working with them, which looks at their intentional navigation through the emerging dynamics of growth that are happening in many different areas. And I look to ways to capitalize upon the talent, the resources, internal and external, that anyone can access from youth right through to older age, mostly in the leadership development space.
Absolutely amazing. So thank you everyone for your warm introduction. Our guest of honor will join us very soon, as he just sent us a message right now. I've inboxed the Facebook live link to all of you. It will be great if you share with all of your audience, because today's session will be a memorable one. That's what we believe. Now coming back to the topic of discussion, the future of outsourcing and the employment. Now, my question is for Mr. Rahi Khondker. How you are looking into it, as you were directly working with youth into different skill enhancing session and different kinds of sessions that is very much important, and you are doing it for last few years. So what's your observation regarding this, Rahi bhai?
So when I say youth, let's so there's of course the global youth, and then I think let's concentrate first on Bangladeshi youth, right? So across the world, or even in our my native country Bangladesh, what I'm seeing is it's something that I did not see when I was actually growing up in Bangladesh, which is the resources. And we all know, as we go into an entrepreneurship, as we all grow old, get gray hair, and for people like me who lose hair, as we realize, it's the technology, of course, the important aspects. Money is an aspect, business, marketing, all aspects, but important aspects. But the most important aspect that I see, the biggest asset, is up here and what's in here. Okay, how you feel and how you think, and this is where I can see a big shift is happening. There's so many things. I mean, I get so many invitation, like on daily basis, to come and talk here and talk there, and so much happening. So this is really like inspiring for me, is that the youth are there. Of course, they have to look for employment, career, entrepreneur, resources, network, and everything. But where they're investing is that expanding their horizon. When I say horizon, not what technology, what banking system, what's all this out there, but what can I do with this, with my brain, with my heart, the vision. And this is where I think I see this. I mean, this is my forte. This is my domain. This is how I got into, I left my almost 15 years of government job and jumped into this something called making a better human out of myself. And this is, I'm really, really passionate about. So what I see, where it's going, I think it's going in a very awesome direction, because youth are not only looking for a way forward, but the way forward they're looking for is, how can I help my mindset to grow? How can I expand my thinking, my heart, my compassion, my empathy, all the soft skill that we think, it doesn't matter where you go. It could be banking, it could be technology, it could be marketing. In every aspect we have champions. But if you go behind that, what actually makes the champions? It's of course the sector
Right.
is important, and yeah, but what is more important is how we get to be there. And this is why I see what youth are doing. If they concentrate more on that, expanding their mindset, expanding their horizon, expanding their feeling for others, understanding others, I think this is where I see the future is, irrespective which line you
Right.
go, it doesn't matter.
So right now we have with us our honorable member of University Grand Commission, Professor Dr. Sazzad Hossain. Let me welcome him into our discussions. Can you give me a few minutes to sort this issue? So what's wrong with the channel? Let me check. So yes, I guess we have Professor. What's wrong with the technical? Let me check.
Hey podcasters, it's Guy Raz.
Okay, let me welcome him. And okay, we are facing some technical difficulties into our panel. Uh,
So while you sort that out, I think we
yeah,
can. Otherwise, yeah,
yes.
our audience
Let
will
me
be.
go to exactly. Let me go to Mr. Dave. Hi, Dave. Can you tell me more about your experience in Bangladesh, working with the talent, and what you're seeing in your organization?
Sure. So I should have mentioned before, I've been coming to Bangladesh on a regular basis for over 20 years. So I guess I've seen a generation now, the second generation of younger people coming into the marketplace. And one of the things that I always advise, and I get asked an awful lot on my journeys around in different countries in Asia, but always in Bangladesh, what is it that people should focus on? And the thing I tell them is the thing about misconception about youth today is the belief that somehow they're different from the past. And it's been interesting how in the last 12, 18 months, there's a lot of different cohort studies being done comparing the attitudes of young people today with 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, even 50 years ago when I was a teenager. And the truth is that we've discovered that actually youth attitudes don't change. They are almost identical to the youth attitudes of 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whether it's in Bangladesh or anywhere else in the world. What young people need to focus on is not that they're somehow unique because of their technology. In fact, there's a lot of research that indicates that today's young people are not only not as adaptable to new technology, we don't know if they can adapt to technology at all because they haven't known any real innovation. The real innovation happened 30 years ago. But what we do know is that young people need to be focused on what other people want. That the danger for young people is to get too focused on what they personally want or their belief of what other young people want and the misconceptions they have about that. So in all the market research that I've seen looking at young people in Bangladesh and then elsewhere in similar markets is that too many people, for example, coming out in university or coming out of university think that their own personal experience represents everybody's experience. And that's just not true. In fact, most people have a very narrow view of life. And what they need to do is broaden out and figure out what matters to other people. Because it doesn't matter what industry you're going to be employed in, doesn't matter what job or profession you take up, your value is going to come from understanding what other people want. Because whether or not you're in the technology business, the marketing business, the retail business, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, what your job is to figure out ways to help other people achieve what they want. And so that becomes a real change of mindset. Now, I will say that in visiting and talking and being asked to speak at universities over the last 20 years in Dhaka, that I've slowly started to see some change in both the way the students talk, but also a bit in the curriculums. Like a lot of places, the universities and the education system was focused on process and not really on getting people to think and to think more broadly about society, about the way others think, what they want. But that is slowly coming to change. And that, I think, is something that's really important. Again, recent studies around the world have indicated that students at universities have become too specialized and that they need to have a broader base of studies to understand better what is the opportunities for whatever they're doing. And fortunately, I think we're starting to see that with a bit more emphasis on a balance between the humanities and the more specific science-related subjects, numbers-related subjects, etc. So these are important opportunities that have to be leveraged. And I think whether or not you're an educator, a potential employer, or the young people themselves, that's a sort of rejigging of focus that people have to keep in mind. Should I keep talking? Because, you know, everybody that's on this, looking at this and knows me in Bangladesh knows I can talk all day. So, you know.
Please.
You got to tell me when to shut up, you know. Okay, I'll just keep on going. Yeah. Sorry. Let me just reflect back to what you were just saying, though. I think it's really interesting that when you think about the opportunity for young people today, that a lot of people have sort of talked about, emphasized the problems of the last 18 months and how COVID has created potential voids, etc. But I've been doing some work across a bunch of countries for a big Japanese corporation, looking at the future of work and how COVID has affected that. And one of the things that we came across that's really important is this. Most of us on this call, except, of course, if you're a lazy Australian. But most of us on this call, if you had a resume or a CV and there was a year missing, right? Imagine you go for an interview for a job and somebody says, now I noticed that there's a whole year here where you don't seem to have done anything. What were you doing? And if you turned around and said, well, I went off just traveling around the world, or I just slept and watched TV all day, then that would be a huge black mark against you. That's changed. Because of 2020-21, that will have changed forever, because so many young people will have been trapped into doing nothing for a year because of cancellation of classes, because of differences in the way in which everything's been set up and happened. And so suddenly that becomes really interesting. But one of the things I heard very interestingly from somebody, a participant in the study in India, was, well, what you need to do is to turn it around and say, not that I was doing nothing for a year, but that I was really thinking about what's important for a year. And that leverages and opens up a real conversation. Right. And so I think, this is a great example of how you can take advantage of a change of times. I'll stop now.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you, Dave, for your opening remarks. By this time, we have got our honorable session chair, Professor Dr. Sazzad Hossain, member of University Grant Commission and the director of Bangladesh Satellite Company Limited. Hello, sir. Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm hearing also for some time, and it is a technical problem, and I just become annoyed for yourself, for the other speakers, and I'm sorry very much. Right. And also sorry to the audience, and the reason is I'm late. Still, I'm in a board of scholarship board, which is very important, Commonwealth scholarship. I have to leave again, so please. My apologies to all of you who are just disturbed or some ways a little bit. Thank you very much. Please continue.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. So I'll come back to you with your overview on the youth employment and the future of outsourcing. Like, as you are playing an important role in this digital Bangladesh digital movement, and there are different initiatives you have taken on behalf of UGC and yourself that is empowering the whole ecosystem to the next level. We will hear your story after we are coming back to know more about Ms. Rudmeela Nawsheen and her initiative for Bangladesh that is creating huge employment amongst our youth. Rudmeela.
So thanks for your question, Imran. It's a very interesting topic today because our youth is very interesting, and where we are heading to the 4IR I think the youth needs to gear up and be technically skilled. So the youth is the bedrock of any fledgling nation, and the vibrant pool of young people talent ensures a vigorous nation brimming with youthful exuberance and energy. So if this unremitting energy can be efficiently harnessed, I think we can actually be headed into the great direction. I have been outsourcing work for the past 5-6 years now from USA, and I've been using Fiverr and Upwork. Those are two great platforms where I think the youth should really focus on. Freelance platforms are actually the best way to go if someone's actually planning to work from home. There's a huge pool of talent in Bangladesh. There are people, like a lot of undergrad students I've seen, who are really tech savvy, and they're actually looking for a brighter future. And I think with what we have, we actually have the privilege to employ such young talents, not only in Bangladesh, but globally all over the world. Right now, I've seen that there's a lack of a lot of technically, let's say, software engineers, electrical engineers, robotics, AI. That's what I'm actually trying to focus on, and that's why we have actually launched the educational robots, so that kids from, like, let's say from grade 6 or grade 7 starts to take interest towards robotics and AI. One more thing I would really like to see is women coming into the technical field more and more. So I'm not going to take too much time. I'm just going to briefly go over what the market is heading for. So we have never lived in a world of faster and more wide-reaching technology innovation. So our jobs, businesses, and how we live in the society all are actually driven by technology now. And the current global pandemic is only the fast-tracking the digital. It's actually just heading towards digital transformation. So I'll just go over what skill set our youth needs to actually cope with the future. And I think for Bangladesh specifically, because we are focusing on high tech, I think we need a lot of people, a lot of students to focus on engineering, machine learning, deep machine learning, AI solutions, blockchain. There's a huge field out there. The world is heading towards automation. Repetitive tasks are actually being replaced by AI solutions. Let's say just not like every industry is actually coping automation. So I think we should be equipped to compete with the other countries. Let's say India, Philippines, Sri Lanka. We all actually, they're also getting trained with a lot of different kinds of skill sets. Not only highly technical ones, but the soft skill sets also matters. So the world is out there for everybody. And if they can figure out where their interest lies, they can actually focus on media, they can focus on content writing, they can actually focus on medical healthcare. There's so many fields out there. So I think the main 10 will be the AI and machine learning, the Internet of Things. Internet of Things is the smart devices. Like right now, we are at 20 million smart devices being used every day. But by 2025, it's going to be 200 billion IoT devices talking to each other globally. So just imagine the amount of data. Simple jobs like data entry, simple jobs like just automating the data it's a huge field there. So I think the youth have the opportunity of there's endless opportunities out there. All they need to do is figure out their interests, focus on their skill sets, and get out on the world and look for internet jobs. And it's very easy to actually have a basic income for everyone today, because we all have the internet and the phone is in the palm of our hand. So the IoT, big data, blockchains, cloud computing, computer edge, robots and cobots. So I can just go on and on, but I'll give the other speakers a chance to talk.
Exactly. Thank you, Rudmeela, for your remarks. Now I'll move forward to our very own Professor Dr. Sazzad Hossain. When it comes to talk about the opportunity about youth, he has taken tremendously huge initiative in recent days, and one of his upcoming initiative on behalf of UGC is Mujib 100 Ideas, and those things are like to enhance the fourth industrial revolution that we are focusing into in digital Bangladesh under the leadership of our honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. So we'd like to know more about Sir's point of view. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you. Just for technical person or technical student, what I wanted to share here is that very simple. Today's nobody understand today's world, and this is I'm a person of quantum computing, so this our father of the quantum computing always tells like that nobody understand quantum mechanics, and neither my student nor I. Why I am talking is like that we have to, for youth is an enormous opportunity. In the other sense, opportunity has to be understood. That is one of the key for our youth, that if you become machine, that is a loss of your energy. So youth is a potential, and I'm listening to a couple of our speakers at the beginning. I think from Australia, I found it is Mr. Rahi Khondker, and also I am listening to Dave. Interesting talking of all over the world. What youth are doing is a tremendous work, tremendous opportunity for Bangladesh or this subcontinent. And we are having a demographic dividend. We have almost more than 50% or 60% is sometimes someone in statistics 65% is youth, and it is growing, and it will continue for 20 years around. So the opportunity is the education. The opportunity is starting from education. But my point is here, opportunity is there, and the pandemic, Dave told that 1 year, is it a loss, or is it or 1.5 year, is it a problem? And whether it created problem for our next generation who are passing this very difficult time. And my kids, even younger kids, are online. Where we are heading towards, this is also concern, and youth should understand that machine is not always the perfect solution. They should live in physical world. That is the thing I am looking into, that we have to build a ecosystem. We are organizing Fourth Industrial Revolution and Beyond conference also in December 10th and 11th, and also we are organizing that's Mujib 100 idea contest, and we are organizing industry academia 100 industry or high tech industry. Even internationally, we are working with Amazon Web Services, Ericsson, for that, and we will be looking in talents virtual, that should be also physical. That is the key. From Bangladesh, we are looking into it, not looking like US or Western or any country. There are opportunities in the web, but we should create more opportunity in the physical world. That's will be more beneficial if we do not go for all about in online. Then maybe health or other issues or psychological issues
I guess we have lose the connection of Dr. Sazzad Hossain. Now I'll move back to Mr. I guess we have got him back again. Sir, can you hear us? I think he's, I think he's back. Sir, can you hear us?
Imran, sorry, I
Yes.
don't know what's going on. Technology is always technology. We all lost. Is it?
Yes, sir, we are back. We are back. We are restored.
That's
So
the
let's
thing
get back to the
I'm
point.
focusing on nowadays, that this pandemic, I mean, this pandemic has taught us also a lot of things, that if we go virtual, there will be problems always. So we have to we have to think about also we are having meetings in sometimes with Indian counterpart, IIT Kharagpur, and I told them that we love to from Nepal also, from US also, Canada also. So we love to meet in person in Bangladesh or Canada or whatever. That's the thing youth should think about also, that they should travel, they should enjoy their life. That's how they can create opportunity for the society and belonging to the people. Belonging, that means you have to have confidence and you have to have something to learn and something to skill set or whatever communication skill set. A lot of issues are there and opportunities. In our younger life there was not such opportunities. Now is a huge opportunity, and I want to listen more from others, because all I have, Rashad Kabir is there, and all are very interesting speakers who have seen many things. Actually, I wanted to listen more, and I hope all speaker will help us, our young talents, to facilitate and thinking how to develop themselves in a such that they can lead our next generation globally as a human society, not a competitive or machine society. This is my message. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. With this note, we are going back to Mr. Ron Laurie to know more about his opinion about youth employment and like how we can utilize them to in this new normal.
I think there's a couple of things I'd like to mention with regards to this new normal. I think one of the first things to recognize is what we're seeing as a result of COVID. And I don't know if any of you have read it about the Great Resignation, about many people who have suffered during the COVID have sort of stopped for a while and decided that the jobs that they've had have pulled them out of themselves so much, and that what they have is an opportunity to go inside themselves to look for some inner resources now, because they recognize that they were too far outside themselves. And I think it's an interesting phenomenon, particularly when you think about the opportunities for people in Bangladesh, for instance. Outsourcing, the opportunity, because there's lots of resignation happening on one side of the world, means there's an opportunity for Bangladeshis to take up those positions that were once held by people in the country. So that's what's one sort of thing. The other thing I want to pick up in what Paul is saying and Dave is saying and Rashid is saying as well is there is a certain need for us to be able to get into the inner resources that we have. I think now more than ever there's a need to have a sharp mind, as sharp as a machete, to cut through the noosphere. And what the noosphere is the world of cultures, of values, of beliefs and interpersonal relationships. The necessity for us to be able to cut through that. And let's be honest, that we live in a world which is full of corruption. We live in a world that's full of deceit as well as values wars. And we look around the world, there's lots of values wars going on currently. And there's lots of biases and polarities going around. So really for the youth to be able to be clear of mind and access their thought as much as a clear identification of their own inner resources. And what I mean by that is their inner felt sense experience of beauty, their own experience of creativity, their own felt sense experience of honesty and knowledge and truth and trust. Nurturing that within ourselves is a key way in which we're be able to be more sustainable outside ourselves. And so within that sort of dynamic that we find, we often talk about the leadership master switch. And the leadership master switch is the pause button inside our head. And the pause button inside our head, if we can just click that before we react to the circumstances that we find ourselves in. And so the more that we are able to broaden that pause and live in that pause enables us to be more adapt and more flexible and not being tugged in one way or another, but being really clear within our minds to do that. Particular work of Robert Hartman, who 45 years ago, as the Hartman Institute was established. Now, Robert Hartman was an advisor to Abraham Maslow. And when you go back as far as that, we realize that there is lots of information in the wisdom traditions that enable us to understand how we are able to cope and survive in this new world that we live in. And in this new world, with all the instability, I often put it as that perhaps a new stability is the ability to thrive in times of instability. So that doesn't mean it's geographically placed either. Any human being, anywhere in the world, can, with the right mindset, the right skills, actually make an impact in the world. And why I'm on this call is because I was invited to attend the BRAC conference in 1919, was it, Imran? And what I was there for is to look at a way of doing that for the youth through a simulation exercise called We Are One World. So what we do is we get 120 youth to run the world for a day. And in that, they get to understand the dynamics for themselves and get a real lived experience of what some of the soft skills they need to survive in the 21st century. So a great need for outsourcing and insourcing and youth employment. The world is your oyster with the right frame of mind and clarity of mind to get into the world.
Right. Thank you, Ron, for your kind words. Now I'll go back to Mr. Rashad Kabir. He's actively active with this community of outsourcing and freelancers. And last year you have launched a Basis Freelancers Award, if I'm not wrong, or Outsourcing
Award. Yes.
Yes. So can you tell us more about your experience about the current condition of this market, Rashad Bhai?
Imran Bhai, you know that under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, I would say that we have relaunched our journey of our ICT industry journey from back in 2009. And you know that in 2009, we have our export value of only $26 million. And in the last year, in 2019, we have crossed $1 billion from the outsourcing market. And last year, it was about 1.3 billion. And this value comprises of all the cumulative remittance from the software companies. Besides, we have the freelancers and all other things. Right now, more than we have a statistics in Basis, more than 300 companies and exporting our software in 80 plus countries right now. It's you can say that it's the statistics of the ICT companies here in Bangladesh. Besides, you know that we have a lot of freelancers. We have more than you can say that 500,000 freelancers who are actively working in the different marketplaces like the Fiverr and the Upwork, Guru, and the other marketplaces, and but they are also bringing their remittances to Bangladesh. So the good part is that our revenue and the remittance has been increased a lot in the last 4 and 5 years, and it has been in fact doubled in the last 5 years. But there are a lot of challenges are waiting in the coming days, because as Sazzad Bhai said, that we are in the fourth industrial revolution era, and we are getting a lot of you can say that demands and works about the technology of the 4IR technology like artificial intelligence. We are getting the demand of blockchain and the big data and so many other things. So you know that right now what we need to do is to build up skill resources for these technologies, and otherwise we will yes, and otherwise we will not be that much of competitive just we had in the 4 and the 5 years back, because we have our competitor countries like Philippines, we have in the competitors countries in Vietnam and so many countries. So we have to prepare ourselves. Besides, you know that we have another target. We have a target to achieve 5 billion USD by 2025. So to achieve that target, we have to formulate different strategies. Like we have to develop human resources, skilled human resources. I would rather say we have to increase. We have to strengthen our branding and marketing capacity. We have to establish a different channel partners in different countries and so many other things. And the good part is that with the help of the government, the basis has also introduced different action plans and different strategies. Like 1 year back, we have you know that we have introduced basis Japan Desk, which is the first country-based focus tech in the history of Bangladesh, and we are getting very good responses from the Japan market. I am just giving you any statistics and information that by 2025 there will be a scarcity of 5 lakhs skilled engineers in Japan. So if we can supply at least 20% of the qualified engineers, it may be the resource outsourcing or the software development outsourcing, the economy of Bangladesh can be changed. So there is a lot of scope, there's a lot of challenge, a lot of opportunities. But what we really need to do is to formulate the correct strategy and utilize themselves. So that's very much from myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashad Bhai. We're coming to the end of this session. Now I'll go back to Mr. Dave to know more about his thought and his advice how we can overcome this situation. Dave.
Yeah, I mean, we're facing an unusual time in Bangladesh, as we are in many places in the world, where, as we've all talked about, we have the crossroads of a rapidly changing world in which we communicate more and more via screens like this, where we have a generation of young people who have learnt to use screens, but have they really learnt to cooperate? Now, I don't mean in playing games, but one of the risks, of course, that we've had because of the 18 months of COVID and because of the intense usage of screens, is that young people today are at risk of, as a couple of my fellow speakers have mentioned, of not learning really about cooperation, about how to work with others. A lot of our communication has become more and more about one-on-one and reacting to one-on-one, but not actually sharing ideas and working through ideas. And one of the opportunities for both education and employers is going to be how you help young people to work together and teach them to work together, to build teams, whether that's in the flesh or offsite, whether it's using different platforms. It doesn't matter. What they need to do is to figure out how to collectively come together and work with each other to increase and build on each other's ideas. One of the great risks that we've seen over the last 20, 25 years, probably since you were young, right, was we tend to have these idols put up in front of us, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, etc., and they are not normal people. They represent the extreme rare. Most people need to work with other people to achieve things. And so I would say that that's one of the great emphases that we need to think about in terms of how we educate and train young people for the future.
Right. Thank you, Dave. I'll move now. It's Rahi Bhai's turn to know more about his opinion regarding the solution and the suggestion that you want to give. Rahi Bhai.
Okay, so I'll just give you a very little story. So last let's say I'm in Melbourne, right? And we call ourselves the lockdown capital. So out of last almost the whole year, we spent about 270 days in lockdown. And I've got two little kids, 10 and 7. And my next door neighbor, they're also like 12 and 8, and they're really good friends. And over the last 1 year, they have introduced so many games across the fence. And I'm one of those dad who really limits screen time. For the last even 7 years, there was no TV, nothing. I mean, to have I do have two big screens, but for 6 years, none of them got turned on. Okay, but then came COVID. I had to get Netflix and all this because the kids were getting bored. But even though with all this, my kids were playing across the fence with the next door neighbor because we couldn't go even to see neighbors. One day, I find my wife tells me, "Have you seen the backyard fence?" And I've realized those 4 kids, 2 mine and 2 from the next door, they have actually taken down the fence. They've broken a big hole in the fence, and they started playing and sneaking into other backyards. And my wife goes, "We get to fix this." And I'm like, since I love to study psychology, my core thing is like to find out why people do what they do. And I told my wife, "Hey, yep, I will fix it when but let's see what happens." And what happened is, of course, we cannot come in because they understand the rule now. Nobody can come into our house because it's the restrictions, and we get hefty fines. But I saw how much innovative things that these 4 kids invented. Of course, they have broken down the fence. And that's what, even though if you put things in front of us, we do what we desire. They desired to communicate. Even though they were communicating, they have taken down the fence. And soon I've seen so many new types of play that they have invented. Just, by breaking down the fence and doing the best of things. And for 10 disappeared all of a sudden. Anyway, so it's just thing, like, yes.
I guess the broadband's not that good in Melbourne.
Yeah, it seems so. So Rahi bhai, are you here?
Shut off from the world for so long, right?
Yes, let's go back to Ms. Rudmeela Nawsheen. She is from Silicon Valley, US, to know more about her thought to how we can overcome this situation and any kinds of suggestions for our young generation. Yeah.
So I think to begin with, we need to educate the whole generation. We have to build the infrastructure. So we need to educate the whole ecosystem. I think we need a lot more training centers in Bangladesh for, as our chief guest was saying, like we need more hands-on people, like with hands-on experience, especially because I'm into robotics, I build robots. I need a lot of people and a lot of engineers to actually help me build these robots. So I think we have to focus on a lot more training centers. Maybe the government sector can also have play a big role in this. Also the private sector. We need to have a strong internet connection. We need to make sure that we have the main backbone to actually compete with the whole world. That's one problem that I think we do have. Not only talking about Dhaka, but let's say rural areas. I'm sure there are tons of talents outside Dhaka. Let's see, when we talk about Bangladesh, we only focus mainly on the capital city. But I think Bangladesh is beautiful and it's huge, and there's talented spread everywhere. Like talent is spread out all over Bangladesh. So I think if we have good internet connection, we can actually connect more and more people and bring in more talent. Language barrier is there. I have faced a lot of. I've seen in my real world experience, I would say, I've seen a lot of people who are actually very technically skilled, but they have language barriers. So that's one thing we should all focus on, because we need to learn English well and properly so that we can communicate, because communicating is also a huge area where I think we should all focus. We should actually facilitate for the youth to compete with the world, and we should have a lot more training centers. We who have the we are lucky to be the mentors. I think we need to guide this whole army of talent we have back home. So utilizing the talent of Bangladesh will actually inject a lot of financial economy. It will increase the growth of Bangladesh. So I think there are tons of things that both the private sector and the government sector can focus on. And we need to mainly first solve the internet problem in Bangladesh, and as well as just to be connected with the whole world. I think these are my few suggestions. And not only
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Rudmeela, for your kind words, and we're looking forward to have you in our upcoming sessions as well. Now move back to Rashad Bhai, then we will go to Ron, then closing remarks will be from our chief guest, Dr. Sazzad Hossain. Yeah, Rashad Bhai.
So,
your few suggestions.
what are the topics I will cover right now? What is the question?
Yeah, so like your few suggestions to our youths to reskills themselves and to get employed. That is the most important thing right now to overcome the situation.
Yeah, yes, that's a very good question. And right now there is there is a lot of, you can say, that learning platform. So learning is not a very difficult thing right now. We have our online platform. You have so many physical training centers right now in Bangladesh and all over the world. So if you need to be competitive in the global market, if you need to skill up yourself, there is you can say that no alternative to appraise your skill. So so I would rather say that if you want to be skilled, focus on a particular area. Like if you want to be skilled in the, you can say, the digital marketing, focus on digital marketing. If you want to be a good, you can say, the machine learning engineer, focus on that part. And if you want to be a good game developer, focus on that part. So yeah, the era is now, right now you have to be specialized in a particular area. So all the things, but in the end actually nothing. So focus on a particular area, grow yourselves, and build yourself for a competitive market. So that's it.
Thank you, thank you. I hope we have got our Rahi Bhai back from Melbourne. Internet is fixed. I hope we were about to like in the middle of your speech, so you can you can complete your words now.
I don't know what. Maybe the kids has taken down the whole internet down to the modems and everything. No, what I was saying is that. So when I say that, but the reason for telling that story was, it's when I have given them the support. Meaning the support is when I did not stop them from what they were doing, they flourished. Okay, and I think this is what we need to do. We are all young. I mean, Imran, you're still young. Rudmeela, I think you guys are all young, but some of us have lost our hair. So even though if we claim we are young at heart, we are not that young anymore. But at some point when we are 18, 15, 20, 25, we had such a great dream, and then life got on the way. We went into jobs and all these things, and we have forgotten how to be a youth. But we all had that fire. So what I feel that for us, I know the youth, they have all the fire. But from us who have just experienced, clocked a couple of decades more, what we have to do is that we need to make sure that the fire flames even higher. Okay, that fire just doesn't. We do provide all the support, and for the youth, what I would conclude is that please believe in that fire. As Dave was saying, youth, the psychology hasn't changed. Believe in that fire, and we are there for you. Show your fire, and we are there. There's so much, augmented reality, so many things right now. Then we are there to support. Don't believe in you and go ahead. When you take one step, universe provides you with all the support. So that's all I want to say. There's so much support. There's so many of us there to support you. Believe in you. Go ahead. there will be plenty of support.
Thank you, Rahi Bhai. Now it's Ron's time to know more about her thought.
If I was to give youth any advice, I would say walk into what is present in the way of a leadership void. I think we're experiencing a leadership void today, and that for the youth to be leaders of themselves and others, to be able to seek other people's perspectives, to be able to take on those perspectives, and to be able to coordinate those perspectives. Coordinate those perspectives is the same as coordinating the skills that Rudmeela has said. We need leaders to be able to coordinate skills and perspectives in order for them to be able to take on the challenges of the 21st century and beyond.
Right.
Thanks, Imran.
Exactly. Thank you, guys. Now it's our honorable chief guest turn to his advice to our youth, as he's playing a tremendously important role into different sector, especially in education sector. So what will be your advice to our youth to get employed and how they can utilize this time in new normal? Over to you, sir. And we will close this session after his kind remarks.
Okay. Again, my distinguished speaker already mentioned Rudmeela, I think, and I just mention our Rashad Kabir, Rahi Khondker from Australia, who's also mentioned, and Dave, and lastly, Ron, advisor to IntegSolutions. He's also mentioning that youth has fire. That is definitely, but main thing we should consider for the youth, I would request or I would suggest that there is no alternative to hard work and learning, reskilling, and also believe on yourself. These three, and another one Rashad Kabir is talking about, that focus. Some focusing is very, opportunity is huge, but my concern, again I am repeating, the concern is digital divide. You see, infrastructure is required for Bangladesh or all over the world. Globally, if you see, I have been in states for long. So what we say, there is a opportunity and there is infrastructure, but for Bangladesh or for this some other countries, resources are limited. So if we do not cooperate, if we are not that new leadership, why we needed new leadership, that is the reason. Youth can change the world system or world cooperation level, that is where we will live in a more harmony, more better life. That is the key. If we compete each other and if we do not understand the civilization or human life, then it will be wastage of our time. What I understand nowadays, after 2 years of pandemic, it shows that world is really needs to think about their real cooperation, and we should learn how to cooperate each other. Everyone, even young people, is required, not only in the screen. That Australia, he has the opportunity for two big houses or two houses side by side, but it is a huge land. But in Bangladesh, one of the densest country in the world, one of the densest country. If you take all human beings in US, also into US, it will not be the same as our densely populated Bangladesh. You have to think this rational way. World should come up rationally. That here is a population which is more denser. If you take all 7 billion to United States, it will not come up the same. So context is different. Someone is talking, when talking from US perspective or Australia perspective or another world perspective, you have to, global scenario is different. Everywhere the scenario is different, and technology is making sometimes even harder for other people to accommodate it. These challenges should be global imperialism or technological imperialism is coming, which we never thought of it, and it is coming. That should be that is the challenge. We are in a physical imperialism. There was a now it is becoming a technological. So our whole global society should understand that beyond, that is the today's inspiring Bangladesh, which is organizing that beyond. The beyond means we have to think for the youth, or youth should think that our speaker told, that they can generate new leadership, which will take us more opportunities in this world, but take a sustainable and take a harmonious growth of the world. And that is and again, I'm thanking you, all of you. It's not I'm expert on these things, but we are looking into many opportunities, infrastructure building, universities. We have aviation universities created, aerospace universities, new maritime universities, and we are creating new opportunities for skill-based agriculture universities. Our agriculture universities, you will see that they have huge potential, huge, where is 160 million people is having very good agricultural product, and that is the key. That means that we need research and we need innovation, and this research and innovation is the key for fourth industrial revolution. That is, we understand. Right. And that economic that ecosystem we are looking for, industry, academia, scientists, and local people, community people, to organize our education system from what Rudmeela says. Skill is required every center of the things, but it should be in a harmonious way. It's a economic ecosystem should be built. If we make someone, in some cases, say game developer, then someone is not earning money and with some technical skills, but huge population will be deprived, then there will be a divide and there will be unnecessary problems. And the situation will be that the aspiring is 2041. We are looking into 2041 in a developed country. So many challenges are there, and I hope our colleagues, our foreign partners will look into that cooperation and technology transfer and knowledge transfer, knowledge building, to help this huge population, how to create those things. And infrastructure is definitely a key requirement. And here we need to invest and we need more helps. Thank you. And I hope our partners, our colleagues will help our young generation or cooperate our young generation to understand the whole ability of knowledge, whole ability of global existence, and also fortunate time. Thank you. I need to leave also. Sorry for my and patience hearing. I need to leave because I'm in a very tight schedule. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your valuable time, and thank you, everyone, every single guest connecting from different part of the world. This is the second day of Beyond 2021. We're looking forward to host you again in coming days. Till then, good day, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
এখন 2:35 আর আপনার পছন্দের গানটি রিকোয়েস্ট করুন।
আপনি লাঞ্চের টাইম হয়ে গেছে, বিরিয়ানি গানটা ছাড়েন না।
সো এখন আমরা প্লে করব এক্সক্লুসিভ কাচ্চি বিরিয়ানি, যার সাথে আছে আলু আর ভেতরে আছে জুসি মাটন। সো শুনতে থাকুন।
মগর পুরানিটা হইলে কইলাম বেশি জমতো।
হাংরি নাকি? হাংরি হলেই হাংরি নাকি অ্যাপ থেকে পছন্দের যে কোনো ফুড অর্ডার করুন এখনই।